one of the tidbits from my 15-minute readings. Actually, this time it wasn't a reading. I was listening to it was something. It was a 15-minute listen of something educational. So the same researcher who was researching like happiness based on the brain, like the human brain, what makes a person quote unquote experience that. He said happiness is based on three things. And I looked at those three things and I'm like, all of them are in Islam. All of them are like they're literally like if we orient our mind and our heart right, then our deen itself is happiness. And then when I looked at it, I said like Salah is happiness. Salah itself is happiness because this is it. He says the first one is enjoyment. And he said enjoyment is not the experience of a pleasure. Enjoyment is having full presence while you are enjoying what you're enjoying. Like you are there in the moment with what you're doing. Which is what does Imam an-Nawawi talk about when he says khushu'. The first thing that you're supposed to do is have a presence of the heart. Like your heart is fully present. And he says the witnessing of the aql, like you know what you're saying to God as you're saying it, right? So part of enjoyment, part of happiness is to literally have the intention to enjoy your prayer. How do I enjoy my prayer? Be really present in the salah, right? He said the second component of happiness is satisfaction. And he said satisfaction is what a person feels after they have accomplished something or done something that they wanted to do. You can even feel satisfaction after suffering, and you can feel satisfaction after pain if that thing that you suffered through, so it doesn't necessarily need to even have enjoyment, but whatever it is that you did, it had meaning. It had meaning to you, and so once you went through that, you felt satisfied. So subhanAllah, what does Allah tell us about, like for example, sabr, right? Like patience for the sake of God is what's rewarded without measure. Or like we know that the prayer is the first thing that's going to be opened for us on Yawm al-Qiyamah. The first thing that's going to be looked at from our deeds is the salah. So it has meaning. It already has intrinsic meaning, right? So to go through it, go through something, whether you did enjoy it or you didn't enjoy it, but at the end of it, you have a sense of satisfaction from it. That satisfaction, again, connected to meaning. And then the third is purpose. Purpose. He says if you have enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose together in something, you experience happiness. And so purpose, he says, is deeply connected to the intention. And what does this ayah say? Prostrate yourself and draw near. What is the intention of the salah? Is to draw near to God. So there's prayer that we pray because it's a fard, then I have to do it. And then there's a prayer that you pray which is like, I want to be close to my Lord, right? And with just that intention, I just want to be near Allah, you experience more happiness from your prayer. So I want us, if you think about how, like the fact that salah has these components, and I actually tried it out. I was like, let me try to experience enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose like together, as part of like, and we have these things, we have these concepts like hudur al-qalb, right? Is something that the scholars have talked about. Satisfaction, not necessarily as a sense of like I'm prideful, but satisfaction as like this is something meaningful, and when I do it, it has meaning for me, right? So it gives me that sense of fulfillment in the prayer itself. And then the niyyah, right? To draw near. Wasjud. I'm not going to complete the rest, just in case it's quoting the ayah. So I'm just going to say leave it at that. But yeah, drawing near to God, being that main intention. So I applied it to one of my prayers, and the first thing I noticed was, I was like, if I'm supposed to enjoy this, then I need to like recite a bigger surah. Because the purpose is enjoyment, right? And then when I was reciting the surah, I was like, no, you gotta like pull out your good tajweed. Like you gotta use, because there's in the actual recitation of Quran from the right makharij, there's a special enjoyment, right? And it feels, it's a very different feeling than a sort of like more lazy recitation. Chose a bigger surah. Tried to bust out the best tajweed I could in that moment. And then that really helped with presence. And then with that intention of like I'm doing this for the sake of like drawing near to Allah, was a really beautiful experience. And so subhanallah, this again what the shaitan always tells the person, because he's so jealous of the sajda, and he's so jealous of the relationship of the servant, the human, and their creator, is he wants to ruin that experience as much as he can. So he tells people it's a burden, delay it, don't do it, steal from it, right? But if it's like, we have to reframe it, because the reality is prayer is not a burden, it's happiness. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that the salah is the mi'raj of the believer. It's like the spiritual ascension, the spiritual journey, the vacation away from this life, you know? So the assignment for us is actually to do two things. Don't procrastinate your happiness. And here the word happiness means salah, right? And then the second thing is, so don't procrastinate your prayers. Like, I'll give you guys what I wrote down. So in Corona prayer times, based on Corona prayer times and the Hanafi madhab, ideally you're praying Fajr by 5:30. Ideally you're praying Dhuhr by 1, Asr by 5:30 p.m., Maghrib by 7 p.m. And I had written down 8:10 p.m. for Isha, but now we're at 8:26, so we'll say 8:30 p.m. inshallah. But that's the intention, is to try to pray the prayers at the right you know, like close to when the time that they come in. And then the second thing is to come to your prayer seeking enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose as a like modality of khushu'. Now, if I told you these are things that will bring khushu', you may or may not do them. But if I tell you these are things that will actually bring you happiness, because we are pleasure-seeking people, you know, it may motivate you a little bit more. Now, the ultimate motivation, obviously, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you may do your prayer and not have any of those things, and it's still rewarded. You may do the prayer and be going through something in life, and you know, we don't pray for the niyyah of the prayer is not happiness. The niyyah of the prayer is not to feel something or whatever. The niyyah of the prayer is to draw near to God, whatever we're feeling. But this is just a framework of hopefully having more khushu' in it from someone who, and trying to protect the prayer from shaitan, who it would do everything in his power to make sure that we don't benefit as much as we can benefit.